Hello, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Edward Heim, and in today's video we are going to do some glazing on this painting. It's nearly completed and I need to darken up the surrounding area to make this pop out. After the glazing, there'll just be some final highlighting, and then this painting is done and we're going to finally move on to something else. So if you didn't already know, you're going to glaze with transparent colors and your choice of medium to thin it out, so a very diluted mixture, and you can build up those layers, as few or as many as you want, to accomplish the effect you're going for. For me, I'm going to try to do it in as few layers as possible, ideally one if I can get away with it, or maybe do one heavy glazing layer, and then if any areas really require a little extra dark touch up, then we can hit those again. Whatever, we'll see. So you're definitely going to want to use a very clean brush. So I've taken a fresh flat brush out of my painting bag. It has no paint in it whatsoever. It's 100% clean. I have Gamblin's Megilp as my continued choice of medium. This is what it looks like on the end of a little painting knife. It's a gel. And then I got 3 colors out on my palette. 3 transparent colors: Asphaltum, Ultramarine blue, and Quinacridone Magenta, just in case I want to throw some onto the porcelain rabbits. I don't know. Maybe I won't do that, but definitely the brown and the blue are the most important. Okay, so I'm just going to grab some medium into my paintbrush first. A lot of it, load it up, drag it out into the middle of my palette, and then I'm just going to grab a little blue. I'm going to grab a small amount of brown and mix it up. Definitely want your colors to be clean and clear. You do not want the opacity or pollution from, say, white paint bleeding into this. It will completely ruin that awesome glazing transparency. So a lot of this needs to be darkened down. So I haven't worked on this painting since I believe Wednesday or Thursday, probably Wednesday. So that's given it a chance to get touch dry. Now, I got some thick white highlights on the bunnies. Not that I was really planning on taking this glazing on top of those right now, but I'm just being mindful of it, and I'm telling you because you don't want to grab that white and then you're going to mix it into the glaze, and then it's going to again ruin what you're going for. It'll just be a mess, just so much easier. You're going to have to stop, you're going to have to wipe it off, you're going to have to clean your brush. Waste of time. And if you have to do it, you do it, but best to avoid that problem. So I've already used up my little pile of glazing. It's thin. We can make it darker. So let's grab more medium. I'm probably gonna have to add more to my palette. And you just kind of get a feel as to how everything's going. And I'm just mixing some brown and blue into the medium. Emphasis on a little bit of color. A little practice, you get a feel for how much or how little to add, depending on what you're trying to do. And I have used this Gamblin Megilp in the past to just go over, dry paint crystal clear, no pigment. Sometimes when you paint with dark colors, it looks good when it goes down, but when it starts to dry up, it kind of sinks in. It starts to develop like a matte finish, which is not what I want most of the time. And painting over it with more dark paint will not necessarily change or fix or correct that. I've tried, so I know. You go over with the medium, clear medium, it can restore that nice glossiness as if like the paint was first put on, and it will then dry glossy. Okay, so again, I'm just throwing in this mixture. Not thinking too hard about it. But at the same time, just not going crazy and just covering the whole painting. So what I'm trying to do is I want this to pop out by darkening everything around it. And so these are a couple beams of light. I went over the tops of it. I may wipe off a little. I don't know. Doesn't look too bad the way it is. Let's just keep going and finish this. So being careful around the ears. I don't want to touch them. I'm just going to assume that white is wet. Down here, I know it's hard to see because of the camera cutoff, but I have a little bit of a line there. Let's soften it. Okay, so let me just stop, stand back a little bit. All right, so looking through my phone's camera here versus what I can see, it's definitely more noticeable to the human eye. You know, the effect, the change versus what the camera's picking up. But either way, I want more dark. And if you go real thick with this mixture, you will get, you know, like a heavier impasto, brush strokey texture. Even though this is a super soft paintbrush, you can still get those lines. Not something I'm really going for. If this is a little bit, it's okay. I'm not going to go crazy trying to remove that, but I don't want it to be just globs of glaze. So for those areas, you can just kind of knock it down, blend it smooth. Okay, so once again, I've run out of my little pile of glaze, so I have to get more medium, get more blue, and get more brown. Just mix up some more. Just mixing all in the brush. Mix it up so I don't have any streaks of blue or brown in my glazing pile here. Really what this is, I've made a very, very transparent chromatic black. Looks like leaning towards the blue side, which is fine. A lot of this background is shades of blue anyway. So I am ready to move on to something else. This helped me to to get the cobwebs off, as it were. So I don't know what I'm gonna do for my next painting. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll do, I don't know, some fruits or vegetables or something. So why not? So it's kind of, everything's circular, funneling back to my focal point. Okay, yeah, that's looking pretty cool. And let's say you do some glazing and it dries and you decide, oh, I want to come back with another layer of paint right over the top. Go for it. I've done it before. Doesn't hurt anything. And then you can glaze over that again or not. If you get that effect you were going for and you decide it's done, let it set up for a little bit and then varnish it, and you're good to go. I want to kind of force some dark under here, get a little better contrast. So this is a good way to easily change tones, values, darkening them with one mixture going over. That definitely helps a lot. Okay. This area needs a little dark. I'm just checking my bristles to make sure it's not picking up any highlight color, any white paint. And they're not. You can give it a wipe and some paper towel just for good measure. Okay, so I'm looking through the camera again, and I can see the way my overhead light is coming and hitting the surface. It just comes through differently than if you're looking at it. I may have to turn the camera at the end when I'm done with this glazing layer. Hopefully it comes out better. It's probably an angle thing. I suppose it is if I tilt my head. But okay, well, lesson still applies. That doesn't change, but I will move the camera at the end just so you can get a better look from my perspective, so face on, and hopefully it comes through better. I can't do that because I will not be able to paint. I need like a chest mounted camera that didn't move kind of thing. So while I'm here, I'm looking at this, because I got all this darkened, and I'm not really going to come back. If I wanted to go darker still, I would have to add more dark glaze as a separate layer, at least, you know, meaning waiting a day and going over a day or two, going back over. So because I'm not gonna go back into this right now, I may actually glaze in a little bit on the bunnies since we have everything out and get this all in one video. So why not? So I've wiped off the brush. Again, it's transparent colors, the blue and the brown. I have Quinacridone Magenta, i.e. my red on the palette. So we can come in, you know, and kind of get a little glazing, dark. I'm not looking at a reference photo, I'm doing nothing. This is purely artistic license and doing what I feel should be done. So I've taken the dirty brush, I've wiped it off, grabbed more medium. I grabbed a little bit of my magenta here, mixed it into the remnants. There wasn't much of my blue and brown glaze mixture. So now it's going to be hard to see, but it's got a purpley tint to it. Very pure color, meaning there's no white or any opaque colors mixed into this. So let's come in, and this is subtle, it's not, shouldn't be scary. That's nice. I like what this is doing. So what's going on here? We're going to use some glazing here to add some subtle additional dimension to these shapes. Just being very careful to avoid what could be very high piles of very bright highlighting. And so I'm still checking it out. See, look, right there. Contamination. So we're going to stop. We're going to wipe, not pull, but squeeze the bristles between the paper towels. Grab a little cleanish medium, wipe the bristles again, and that's good. Thick paint is going to take longer. White takes longer to dry than darker colors, which is why I thought that may happen. Had I waited a couple of weeks instead of a couple of days, probably would not have been a problem. Alright, so that's fine. Minor setback. Let's get back to it. There's not much paint on this brush. But I am still checking to make sure I don't accidentally grab some white. And out of an abundance of caution, I like to give it a little wipe in my paper towel. Getting a little more daring here. Again, I'm not looking at a reference photo. I just want to force the issue of really shadows and subsequently highlights at the same time by doing what I'm doing. Not only am I changing values and shapes, making the darkers darker and subsequently the highlights brighter, I'm also adding a little extra color to the painting. And this is an easy way to do it. Yeah, so look at that. Getting some really cool effects. I'm looking through the camera now again, and I could see how much brighter these guys look right now. Cool, huh? It never ceases to amaze me how like you can go into any painting, and then when you doing little things like this, how boom, all of a sudden things start jumping out and popping, at least the way I paint. So I want to come in and just kind of force a little contrast between these ears. I realize I'm now going over lighter color. That's okay though, because I'm not planning on going back to the darker. This is purely artistic license touches right now. Okay, so I've done a lot of glazing here. So really the only other thing I'm going to do next is just some really ultra final highlights, but I don't want to do that right now. We'll save that for the next video. It'll be the last time we work on this guy, other than say varnishing it later, which you may or may not see. Probably not. Or we just may do it with a batch of others, and if it pops up in the video, it pops up. Okay, so let me move the camera so you can see this head on. Do this without shaking it. Okay, so there we go. Look at that. Looks pretty cool. And it's some nice contrast. And I see here actually I got some they look almost like hairs in the paint. They're not. It's just too like thick globs of medium. So just tip of a wipe that brush out just to get rid of those, because if they dry, they're going to be there forever. You're not going to remove them. So now would be the time to check for things like that. There's another one. Again, I'm just going for the obvious stuff. Just soften it out. Let me bring you a little closer to the painting. In this case, I have one around the ear, but I like the way that looks. So I'm going to leave that. All right, great. So we're going to call it done here. If this video helped you in any way, and if you got any value whatsoever out of it, I would kindly request that you subscribe, like, and share. It greatly helps out the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. So, thank you for watching, and I am looking forward to preparing another video to share with you all. Bye-bye.